Most people don't lose focus because they're lazy. They lose focus because they're quietly poisoning their attention, one toxic habit at a time. These habits don't show up like emergencies. They creep in, slowly, silently, until you wake up one day unable to read a page, finish a task, or sit still without checking a screen. And worse, you think it's just how your brain works. But the Stoics knew better. They believed the mind, like the body, could be trained, strengthened, purified. They didn't have smartphones, sure, but they had distraction. They had ego. They had comfort. And instead of surrendering to it, they studied it. They built mental armor so their attention couldn't be hijacked. That's what this is. Not a motivation boost, a reset, a mental detox. Because if you don't identify what's draining your focus, it doesn't matter how many apps you use, how early you wake up, or how many books you buy. You'll keep spinning. The truth, most people say they want focus. What they really want is stimulation without friction. They want to feel sharp without effort, but focus is friction. It's silence. It's choosing what matters when everything else screams louder. That's what the Stoics trained for. That's what you're about to train for. And it starts here, by cutting the 7 habits that quietly destroy your ability to think, act, and lead, one by one, with clarity, with discipline, with reason. The first toxic habit is overstimulation, constant input, podcasts while you walk, YouTube while you eat, notifications while you breathe. The Stoics had a word for this: dissipation, the scattering of the soul. Marcus Aurelius warned against being torn apart by 1,000 distractions because they knew a mind that's always full is never clear. Break the loop. Don't just unplug. Be still. Train your mind to not need noise to feel alive. The second habit is passive consumption, scrolling without purpose, absorbing other people's opinions, stories, fears, and mistaking them for your own. The Stoic approach? Control the intake. Seneca said, "If you are everywhere, you are nowhere." Limit what enters or lose control of what exits. Your energy, time, values. Choose what you feed your mind as carefully as you choose what you feed your body. Garbage in, garbage out. The third habit, internal multitasking, jumping between thoughts, tasks, worries, all at once. Even while doing nothing, your brain is juggling unfinished loops. This is cognitive clutter. The Stoics mastered monofocus. Do what you're doing, and nothing else. Be present. Not because it's trendy, because it's powerful. When you jump from task to task, you never go deep. And when you never go deep, you never feel purpose. And the fourth, emotional reactivity. You check a message, get triggered, and now your whole day shifts. You plan to focus, now you're stewing. Epictetus taught, it's not the event, but your judgment of it that disturbs you. Reaction is the thief of attention. Learn to pause, to step back, to choose. Focus isn't about locking your door. It's about unlocking your control. If you've made it this far, you already feel it. Focus isn't about willpower. It's about subtraction, removing what doesn't belong, refusing what weakens. And the truth is, this work is quiet. It's not sexy. It doesn't get claps. It doesn't come with a dopamine hit, but it changes everything. That's why the Stoics didn't wait for better conditions. They created them internally. They designed a mental environment so still, so disciplined, that chaos couldn't enter without permission. That's the level we're building toward. Not hustle, not hype, fortress mindset. If this kind of structure speaks to you, if this voice cuts through the noise in a way most content can't, then this space is yours. You're already one of us. So subscribe, not to watch more, to become more. Every lesson here isn't for clicks, it's for clarity. Every video is another rep in building mental strength. We're not chasing attention, we're training it, together. So before we break down the final 3 focus killers, commit to this. You're not just watching a video, you're practicing, you're rebuilding, one habit at a time. Because every time you remove a distraction, you reclaim a piece of yourself. And the more of you that's present, the more power you can actually use. The 5th toxic habit is scattered mornings. Most people lose the day in the first hour. They wake up and instantly enter reaction mode. Texts, news, feeds, other people's urgency. The Stoics did the opposite. Marcus Aurelius began each morning with preparation, a quiet review of what kind of person he wanted to be before the world tested him. You can't have a focused day without a focused start, so reclaim your mornings. No phone, no noise, just stillness and intent. The sixth habit is overthinking, not reflection, overanalysis. That looping, paralyzing self-talk that goes nowhere. What if I fail? What will they think? What if I'm not ready? The Stoics answered this with brutal clarity. Do what must be done. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Your mind isn't a courtroom. It's a tool. Use it to plan, not punish. The solution? Set boundaries around decisions. Give yourself a time window, 5 minutes to assess, then act. The longer you sit in indecision, the more your energy leaks. And the seventh habit? Avoidance disguised as productivity. Constant planning, endless tweaking, researching instead of executing. Why? Because starting is scary. The Stoics taught, don't ask if it's possible, ask if it's necessary. If it is, begin. Not tomorrow, now. Doing hard things badly beats not doing them at all. You don't need a perfectly clear plan, you need motion. Each action clears more fog than 100 thoughts. You don't find clarity. You create it by moving forward through resistance. And the more you practice doing what your comfort zone resists, the more your attention sharpens. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it. Now that you've stripped away the toxins, something starts to change. The noise gets quieter. Your thoughts get cleaner. You stop rushing. You start choosing. The same tasks you used to avoid now feel manageable. The same distractions that used to own you now bounce off. Why? Because you're not trying to fight for focus anymore. You've removed what was killing it. Most people think focus is something you get when you try hard enough. But that's like trying to see through a dirty window without cleaning it. You don't need to add more effort. You need to subtract the garbage. That's the Stoic edge. Subtraction over stimulation, simplicity over noise. Now you begin to experience something rare, clarity without chaos. You move slower, but get more done. You speak less, but say more. You stop reacting and start responding. That's power. And it didn't come from motivation. It came from method. From removing 7 small behaviors that quietly sabotaged your attention for years. This is how Stoics sharpened their edge. Not with more, with less. Less distraction, less ego, less drama. And through that less, they found more energy, more control, more space to lead, and to think. And here's what makes it unshakable. This isn't a one-time transformation, it's a daily rep, a new standard. Every time you catch yourself slipping back into one of those habits, you don't panic. You reset. That's mastery, not perfection, repetition under pressure. You're not just learning to focus, you're learning to protect your focus like it's sacred, because now you understand that it is. So now you know. Your lack of focus was never a flaw. It was a result, a symptom, a consequence of 7 small decisions you didn't even realize you were making. But now you see them. And once you see a pattern, you can't unsee it. You either change it or let it keep running your life. The Stoics understood that attention is life, not metaphorically, literally. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows, your decisions follow, your future follows. So if your attention is fractured, so is your direction, your strength, your peace. But now, you've reclaimed it. Not all at once, but piece by piece. One silence at a time, one no at a time, one morning without your phone, one decision made with clarity, not craving. This is how power returns, quietly, consistently, fully earned. And here's the shift most people never make. You're not just avoiding distraction, you're becoming undistractable. Because when you strip away the noise, what's left is presence. And presence is magnetic. It's rare. It's powerful. It turns ordinary effort into legendary impact. You've seen the cost of staying distracted. You've felt what it's like to live on autopilot, jumping from tab to tab, task to task, thought to thought. But now, the choice is yours. So ask yourself this, honestly. If the way you manage your focus is the way you manage your life, are you really okay living like this?